friends, my name is Hazy Baby and this is my channel Crochet and Crime, where I crochet while talking about crime. If you love to crochet or watch people crochet, then you'll love this channel. And if you love to hear about crime, then you'll super duper love this channel. So if you do like my content, please like and subscribe, or subscribe and like, however way that goes. And away we go. Hello friends, and welcome to another wonderful day of crime. Well, I don't know if the crime is wonderful, but welcome to another wonderful day. Today is the 5th of April 2023 and I have some fresh news stories to tell you. Actually, one of them is not so fresh, but an update on yesterday. So yesterday we talked about the NRL player Jarryd Haynes and his trial, and how the judge told the jury to pretty much go back to the drawing board and try again and persevere with their case, as they couldn't all agree. But apparently they finally did agree yesterday afternoon at around about 5 p.m. So this first story is a recap of that. So Jarryd Haynes, football player. Wait a second. They're half doubles. So I'm just working on the squares for the corner of the blanket for my brother, for anyone who has been watching my channel. If you haven't been watching my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Hazy Baby. I talk about crochet and crime. Or rather, I talk about crime while crocheting. So welcome. Please go watch my other videos. Subscribe if you can, like I said at the beginning in the introductory of this video, when you saw my lovely face. Yeah, that's my jam. So moving right along. So former NRL star, we'll say former because obviously he's not an NRL star anymore, Jarryd Haynes, or Hayne, has been found guilty of rape after a third jury trial deliberation for more than a week. So Hayne, 35, pled not guilty to 2 counts of sexual intercourse without consent and faced a 2-week trial over the allegations in the New South Wales District Court. It was alleged that he performed a non-consensual sexual acts on a woman for about 30 seconds, ending when she began to bleed. So the length of time doesn't matter. Rape is rape, peeps. The jury of 6 men and 6 women returned a guilty verdict on both counts on Tuesday afternoon, so yesterday afternoon, and Hayne could be heard saying, "It's a disgrace," when the verdict was handed down, and his wife broke down into tears. Oh, his poor wife. Outside court this afternoon, Haynes said he would be appealing the decision. So good luck with your appeal, buddy, and I feel really sorry for your wife. Your poor little wifey poo. When asked how he was feeling, he said he was devastated, and appeared to be holding back tears. Yep, and his wife was by his side wearing dark sunglasses as the pair left the Downing Centre. Hayne will not be taken into custody tonight ahead of another hearing on Thursday. He'll be sentenced at a later date. So how much do you guys want to bet he just gets community service and has to pay a fine? On the night of the assault, Hayne attended a Newcastle home where this woman shared with her mother on the NRL Grand Final night, when he was in town for a Bucks weekend, paying for a taxi to wait outside before driving home to Sydney. He was never charged in November that year after the... Sorry, he was charged, not never charged. He was charged in November that year after the allegations reached the NRL's integrity unit. So I hate that it had to reach the integrity... Oh, that's 4. Oopsie daisies. That's what happens when you're not watching. Too busy reading. I hate that it had to reach the integrity unit until anything was done about it. So, but I'm glad this is why we have the integrity unit. So Hayne was a star rugby league player, playing most of his 214 NRL games for the Parramatta Eels, as well as representing Australia and Fiji. So, really, really sad. I'm actually just really devastated for all Eels fans, really. He played 23 State of Origin matches, including New South Wales 2014 drought-breaking series win. In the same year, he won his second Dally M medal. An attempt at gridiron with the US NFL San Francisco 49ers was followed by a rugby 7 stint with Fiji before a return to the league. He was cut off contract when he was charged in 2018. So that's what they do. They say, we ain't having this, brother. We are not having this. Treat women with respect. Yeah, so I'm glad he was convicted. I'm glad he was found guilty. I'm glad she was believed. I'm glad all of these things. I am super, super, super glad. I am sad for his wife, obviously. And I am sad for any fans of the NRL. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands. I just am. And yeah, so we'll just move on to our next story. So this next story comes fresh out of Victoria. Well done, Victoria, for having a few creepy stories this week. So an eviction killer filmed digging graves for his victims. Not victims. He's only had one victim, which is, enough. After he killed Brendan Farrell during a violent eviction attempt, Terence, of course his name was Terence, was filmed digging multiple graves for his victim. So apparently he was, I don't know what his plan was, but he was digging a few graves. So he was jailed for a minimum of 5 years on Tuesday after pleading guilty to manslaughter of Farrell in May of 2021. He'd been asked by his friend Richard Jackson, who was Farrell's housemate, to evict him from the bungalow he was living in. So old buddy was like, oi, can you evict this twat muffin for me? And he was like, yeah, I got you, bros. 100%. Don't you worry your pretty little face about it. And then, I'm pretty sure this is not what he meant. I'm pretty sure he didn't mean, can you please, evict him from the planet? Evict him from existence. No. I think he just meant, can you, make him leave that residence? But no. Good old Terence thought he would take it that little step too far. So he agreed in late May and went to Farrell's home. In a spontaneous assault, he slapped Farrell's face, grabbed him by the scruff of his neck, and pulled him down and punched him twice in the head and face. He then carried Farrell to the car and drove away, and several days he left Farrell's body in the car. So obviously he didn't mean to kill him. He just got, he just lost his temper, did himself a mischief. His cause of death was unable to be determined due to the state of his body. But John Champion said it was clear that he remained alive for an unknown period of time after the assault. Okay, so I rescind my previous statement. He clearly did want to kill the guy. Poor dude. Poor dude. So yeah, at some point in the following days, the Terence contacted a friend and said, I've still got him. Days later, again, he said, the dude has gone. That's all he did. He just sent him a text message and said, old bud's left, mate. The court heard that Terence had a fear of being disowned by his family and of going to jail. Look, I really feel like, it's a healthy thing to be fearful of jail, just saying. Which Justice Champion said informed his conduct and decision-making in this period. So they're alleging that he did all this because, he didn't want to go to prison and he didn't want his mum and dad to be disappointed in him. Now, look, Terence, we're all disappointed in you. Look what you've done. Wake up to yourself. So on July 8th of 2021, monitored phone calls revealed that Terence telling another person that something he had done had come up on the news, and if he was caught, it might be serious. It might be serious, Terence. You killed someone. It's definitely going to be serious. Police searched his home a day later and found blood-stained boots and a shovel. He didn't even get rid of the evidence. Terence, what are you doing? Brother, if you're so scared of going to prison, it's probably a good thing to get rid of the evidence. Just saying. So videos on a seized mobile phone. Oh my god. So he even filmed himself. Oh my god. This is like one of those dumb criminals thing. Showed him digging a grave in the backyard for a Noble Park property between June 5th and 15th. Officers went to the property and found Farrell's remains wrapped in a blue carpet inside a canoe, which was then covered in a tarpaulin. Well, he's making a person burrito. Look at that. Farrell's mother told the court she found it hard to understand why her son was not treated with dignity and respect, even in death. I mean, he was buried in a canoe. It's kind of exciting. Terence experienced social isolation, paranoia, and a lifelong erratic mental state, and a profoundly unstable sense of self, the court heard. Well, duh, because no one goes, mate, can you help me evict this brother? He goes, yeah, sure, I can do that, bashes his head in, and then puts him in the back of his car till he's dead. I mean, no one with a full sense and all their cognitive functions and their marbles thinks that that's a good idea. It was suggested that Terence had felt unsafe and threatened by the victim. Well, I feel like the victim should have been the one that felt threatened. But okay, let's make this about Terence. Yeah. An expert described him as having difficulty controlling his anger and leading to physical altercations. But Justice Tampion said that it was hard to accept given he had taken another man with him to evict Farrell and that they had outnumbered him, which means the other dude was a witness to this. Alrighty. So these are, I'll get back to this in a second. These are the two squares that are going in the corner of the blanket. So I made them yesterday. Aren't they pretty? They're so pretty. Okay, and that's that one and that one finished. And these are the, if you have a look, this is the joined together squares that we did in the last couple of days. So what I'm going to do now is I've already started by putting this black border on it, and I'm just going to continue with that black border with a double crochet in every bit. So I'm going to start in the corner. Get this party started. So where were we? They outnumbered him. His actions is not seeking help for Farrell, but rather, after being assaulted, was reprehensive that he would then, leave this guy in the car. So Terence showed an initial absence of remorse, insight, empathy, and really basic humanity, the judge said. And while he did show later in the court case some remorse, it's tempered by the attempts for him to shirk the responsibility of his actions through mental health. The judge ordered Terence serve at least 5 years of the 7.5-year sentence before he's eligible for parole. So he murdered somebody and he only got 7.5 years in total because of mental health. I mean, I don't know why I'm shocked by that, to be honest. Okay, well done, Terence. Good job. I bet your family is disappointed now. Alright. Moving on. Okay, this next story is out of Adelaide, and it's a short and not sweet story, but I just want to give this a caveat. There is this whole story is about rape. So I would like to say that if you do not want to hear this story, maybe just fast forward through this bit. It doesn't go for very long. But charges dropped over an alleged gang rape in Adelaide. So prosecutors have dropped charges against 4 men and 3 teenagers accused of gang raping 2 women in a stairwell of an Adelaide car park last year. 7 people were charged over the alleged attack, which was said to have taken place in the Hindley Street in the CBD of the first weekend of December of 2022. The group was said to be aged between 16 and 23. Today, the charges were dropped, today being the 5th of April, against the 4 men accused for taking part in the attack due to insufficient evidence. So I don't know what evidence they would want from a gang rape, but I suppose if there's not enough evidence, there's not enough evidence. Like I said, It was a short and not sweet headline. Okay, so let's move on to the good part. Alrighty, so the AFP, the Australian Federal Police, their border force seized 336 kilos of heroin in Queensland, which is like the largest bust ever. And I am ecstatic about it. I am so happy they were able to get that much heroin off the streets. It just fills me with so much joy. I am overjoyed. Seriously overjoyed. So authorities have seized 336 kilos of heroin in the largest bust in Queensland. It's the second largest bust in the entire country. So the drugs were allegedly concealed in concrete blocks, obviously not sealed very well, weighing about 500 kilos. They were labelled as solar panel accessories inside a sea freight container sent from Malaysia to Brisbane. So, yeah, I don't think that is, I don't think they're solar panels. The AFP investigators and the Australian Border Force officers at the Port of Brisbane drilled into the concrete blocks and removed 960 packages containing about 350 grams of heroin each. So, that's a lot of white powder. That is a lot. 350 grams per bag and 960 packages. I mean, my question is this the first time they've tried this? Have they managed to successfully do this before? Is that why they redid it again? I have so many questions, all going to be unanswered. So they removed the packages from the concrete before a controlled delivery to the intended recipient in a warehouse in Brendale, north of Brisbane, on March 28th. So they do that so they can catch the bad guys. Police say a Sydney man collected the consignment in a rented truck the next day, which then travelled to an industrial shed in Mount Druitt in Sydney on March 30th. So they drove all the way from Brisbane to Sydney. Anyone who's done that drive, it's not fun. The man allegedly returned to the shed on Friday morning and used the industrial tools to cut into the concrete and access the heroin hidden inside the display stands. Did they put the heroin back in? I suppose, if it's controlled. Or do they have like fake heroin? Oh, I have so many questions. So many. The 55-year-old Auburn man was arrested by the AFP as he left the shed later that morning. He was charged with 1 count of importing a commercial quantity of border-controlled drugs and 1 count of attempting to possess a commercial quantity of border-controlled drugs, which both carry a maximum sentence of life imprisonment, which it should, by the way, because that drug is life-ending. It ends so many lives. Police later seized $750,000 worth of jewellery, mobile phones, cash, hard drives and notebooks during searches of a number of businesses and homes in New South Wales and Queensland. The man faced Parramatta Local Court on Saturday and was remanded in custody and will reappear on Wednesday. So he'll reappear at some point today. The largest ever seizure of heroin in Australian history was actually in 2021 when the AFP and the ABF seized 450 kilograms of heroin in Melbourne. So Melbourne had its turn and now Brisbane and Sydney are going to have theirs apparently, which was also had been transported via sea from Malaysia, which, goes back to my earlier question of I wonder how many times they've done this. So the AFP commander, John Tenty, said removing so much heroin from Australian streets would save lives and deliver a crushing blow to the organised criminals who are living large while law-abiding Australians struggle with the cost of living. Oh my God, so many times I have said I would totally be a drug dealer if it wasn't for the fact that, I had morals. This amount of heroin would cause untold damage to the community and increase the burden to our health system, social services, all in the name of trans-international organised crime. And I 100% agree with you, Barry. I totally agree with you. Not to mention the individuals that it would save, the communities, the mothers, the families, just so many people. And I know what people are thinking, yes, but Hazy, they're going to get drugs from anywhere if they're going to get drugs. I know that, but this is a lot of drugs, and it's a big giant batch to go at one time. So the alleged criminals behind this import in Australia and overseas are more than $268 million out of pocket punching. For the alleged key member of the syndicate is facing life imprisonment. So let's hope that further arrests are made. They haven't been ruled out as such, but really hope they get caught. And then they catch the people who are actually, the important people. I don't know if that's right, but definitely the big people, the people on the top, not the people on the bottom, not old Joe Blow who drove all the way from Brisbane to Melbourne. He's not, with only $600,000 worth of cash and stocks on hand, he's not a big dude. He'd be the middleman for sure. Just the transport guy, to be honest. But there'd be so much more to do with it. So hopefully they actually stop it at the source and instead of trying to put a band-aid over this giant gaping fucking heroin hole. Okay, this next story is another short one because it's still evolving, but a body has been found in an Adelaide property while they were searching for the missing father of two. So, police searching a property near Adelaide in connection with a missing father found a body. South Australian police said the body, which has not yet been identified, was discovered in a semi-rural home in Kililda, in the city's north. So Detective Inspector Mark, I'm not even going to try and attempt to say his last name, said that it was found in a pit inside the shed. So someone had dug a pit and put this body in there. The pit had been drained of water and excavators were brought in to dig when they searched the property, which began last night. Police said the search was in connection with missing 38-year-old father of two, Steve Murphy, who was last seen camping in a swag around the area about 6 weeks ago. The search also allegedly uncovered cannabis plants and a hydroponic equipment. So by the sounds of it, if I'm speculating, I'd say that body is more than likely good old Steve. Yeah, so drugs and weapons were also allegedly seized from the property on Sunday night, leading to charges being laid against the 45-year-old resident who lived in the home. So we know it can't be that person that's in the pit. The post-mortem will need to be done to identify the person that they found, the body that they found in the pit, because it's unrecognisable. Well, it was filled with water, so I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that, but you really can't tell that it's even a person, to be honest. So I'd say that coroner has a fair bit of work ahead of them, and I will try and bring you updates as we go along. I bring updates as much as I can. I just go with whatever's in the news. I just do a lot of research, so I just try, and I tend to start the day with the story that I have previously spoken about. So yep. This next story doesn't have any death in it, yay! And it doesn't have any rape in it, so that's nice. It's nice to have a change. It's nice not to have to talk about these really sad subjects. Although I really do love crime, I really do. But the ones that get me going are the funny ones, like this one. Police were led on a 50-kilometre chase after a $70,000 Maserati. Okay, first of all, I'm going to pause right there. Who the has $70,000 to buy a car? I mean, after all of that, why work so hard for a car? Anyway, I don't get it, but I'm sure there are people out there who are going to tell me in the comments why people would work so hard for a car. But yeah, I'm sure. But apparently this $70,000 Maserati was stolen from a garage. Allegedly. It's important that you say allegedly. Investigators are expecting to lay charges after a Gold Coast family woke up to 3 strangers allegedly threatening them with a gun before taking off in their luxury car, sparking a major crime police chase. That would have been so great to watch. So Saeed Akbar Hassin was left with bloodied hands after he fought off one intruder at 6 a.m. before 3 strangers allegedly returned to his home, also armed with a knife and what he described as a big gun. Rocks were then hurled through the front windows, a Porsche smashed, and a garage door was broken as the Maserati was taken. Oh my god, so not only do they have a frickin' Maserati, they also have a Porsche. These guys have more money than sense. I swear to God. I swear to God. It's just jealousy, guys. I'm just jealous. I just wish I had that kind of money. I don't want the car. I just want the money in which they buy the car. They were just in a panic and crying, so I just tried to calm them down, friend Mazid told 9 News, and police chased the alleged stolen $70,000 Maserati 50 kilometres from Helensvale to Browns Plains in Logan. Of course they lived in Logan. Anyone who's ever lived in Brisbane or near Brisbane will get my joke. The alleged thieves posted videos on social media from inside as the car clocked up to 160,000 kilometres an hour. Oh my god, they are lucky to be alive. They are very silly, silly billies. Also, of course, they did the whole, video filming thing. I was only talking about this the other day, how hilarious it is that they take these videos and these, you might as well just walk into the police station and say, hey, look, I stole a $700,000 car this morning. I drove it erratically like a moron, and here's the footage, and yeah, just arrest me now. That's what they might as well do, because eventually they're going to get caught, and when they get caught, now they have video evidence of your tomfoolery. So the car was finally brought to a stop by road spikes after the driver hit a patrol car and then a tree. Oh my god, the family is going to be so pissed that their really expensive car is ruined. A man, 27, and a woman, 18, were taken into custody, and police said a second man was on the run. So he just legged it. They crashed into a tree and he was like, see ya, and legged it. He was gone. A white Mercedes is seen on CCTV as the sports car sped away, is also in interest for the police. So, a 27-year-old man, and I'm assuming his girlfriend? One would assume it'd have to be his girlfriend. Women are not that dumb, are they? They're just going to get in a car with a fool unless they're I don't know. Look, I don't know. I do not know. But what I do know is that that family is going to be so pissed off that their car is totaled. Well, they still have their Porsche, even though it's got a broken window. I'm trying to feel sorry for them. I really am. They'd be insured, I'm sure. But they're lucky they didn't kill themselves or anybody else in the process of this theft. And it's actually more the dangerous driving that I'm worried about than the actual theft of the car, even though that's bad, that's sad, yada yada yada. I actually feel more for the fact that they were driving erratically through, neighborhoods where children, would be out on the street and playing and stuff. Because trust me, people from low socioeconomic areas, we tend to play outside. So that's what I would have been really, really worried about. Will somebody please think of the children? But seriously. So I really do feel that there should be harsh penalties for them stealing that car, and even harsher penalties for them driving stupidly. And then I feel like, it's not enough punishment. We should name and shame them and say, oh my god, well, look at these fucktards popping up videos. Because I think, posting the videos to media as proof is just going to encourage them to do it again. Someone else is going to go, oh my god, that's how they got on TV. I totally want to get on TV. That's how I'm going to do that too, Baz. You want to join me? I don't know why everyone's always named Baz and Jeffrey, but they are, okay? They are. Alrighty, so after that uplifting story, well, somewhat comical story, I have another sad one, unfortunately. So a Perth father killed in an alleged attack at his own bar in Thailand. So a Perth father who lost his 6-month-old daughter in the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami has been killed in Thailand. So, you know, he already had a lot of tragedy in his life. So businessman Peter Hempel was allegedly attacked as he celebrated his 57th birthday at the Melinda Monkey House and Whale Bar, the restaurant that he owned in Krabi, east of Phuket. So Nine News understands he was confronted by the husband of a former employee over a pay dispute and allegedly attacked with a knife. So, you know, someone got their husband to come to the restaurant and be like, pay me. You know, they're saying you can't get blood out of a stone. Well, I think this applies here. So the legend of the North Beach Football Club played in the 1990 Premiership and kicked more than 70 career goals. Hempel was described as a larger-than-life character who lived life to the fullest, which, you know, obviously he did. I mean, he lived overseas, he owned his own bar, he was just having a good time. By his friend Craig Dalton from the club, who also works there. Hemps was very well liked and respected person and a generous, fun-loving friend to many. He loved to share his resort with his family and his friends, and he always ensured you were well looked after. Well, he obviously didn't ensure that his employees were well looked after, because otherwise, why would he have attacked him? The 24-year-old Thai man is now in police custody. Aw, poor dude. The dead dude, not the Thai man. He shouldn't be killing people because of a paycheck. But seriously, anyone who's ever been that broke will understand. You know, you can appreciate. I can appreciate being so enraged when you're so desperate. So, yeah. I've got a fair bit of news today, so I'm just going to quickly go through these next ones, as I feel like everyone deserves a voice and they're important stories. So, high-profile rape suspect may call witness at a hearing. A high-profile man, who cannot be named for legal reasons, just quite yet, could be called as a witness to testify in his fight to stop a rape charge against him from proceeding to trial. The man, who was facing 2 charges of raping a woman in October of 2021, had his case briefly mentioned for the 3rd time in the Toowoomba Magistrates Court on Wednesday. Queensland law prohibits naming people accused of rape unless or until they are committed to stand trial. So we actually can't say who he is, but apparently he's high profile. The man was accused of appearing, and prosecutor Nicole Friedenwild told Magistrate Kay Phillipson the defendant's legal team has been served with a brief of evidence. So they've been given this nice little, pile of evidence, basically. Defense solicitor Rowan King appeared by phone and told Phillipson he needed another 3 weeks to seek the material on discovery from prosecutors. By the next occasion, we should be in possession to inform the court whether there are any exceptions or applications of further matters that are going to track through the committal stream. So basically, they're asking for a continuance. They're asking for them to gather some more information and some more facts before charging him. That's basically it. So hopefully I'll bring you some more news on that one at a later date. So this next one is actually quite a high-profile case here in Australia. And Chloe Smith, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but she was kidnapped by Terence Kelly. And he has now been jailed for 13 years and 6 months, which as far as I'm concerned is not enough time. Terence Kelly was high on methamphetamine and looking for things to steal, apparently, when he came across 4-year-old Chloe Smith sleeping on her father's tent in the regional Western Australia and decided to abduct her. The 37-year-old loner had also longed for a family of his own, apparently, and wanted the little girl so that he could dress her up and play with her, apparently. I know, you know, I wanted to hold on to her and I wasn't planning to keep her forever, he told police shortly after Chloe was rescued from his house 18 days later. So I remember this being all over the news. It was on every station. And this guy, when they were looking for him, they accidentally got a picture of a different guy with the same name. So I just remembered that because that poor dude, I remember thinking, oh my God, could you imagine having your name and your face plastered all over the news and actually you had nothing to do with it? It would be mortifying. It would be like horrified. Anyway, moving on. So Kelly's motives for snatching the girl from the campsite on October 16th, 2021, and details about what happened during her time in captivity were revealed in the Perth District Court on Wednesday, as Kelly was sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in jail. Chief Judge Julie Wagner said Chloe spent most of her 10 days alone, trapped in a bedroom after Kelly altered the door handle so that the room locked from the outside. She pled to go to her parents. She asked mainly for her mother. She said, "You put on the radio loudly in the bathroom to cover up the noise that Chloe made. The young victim heard her name on the radio and she said that they were saying her name." After his arrest, Kelly told the police he roughed Chloe up a bit a few times and became angry with Chloe when she got quote-unquote bossy, asking for chocolate, but he claimed he didn't want to hurt her and wanted to make sure she was quote-unquote comfortable. He said Chloe tried and cried often, and he had tried unsuccessfully to tie her up. So I just used sticky tape, but it wasn't working, so I thought I won't tie her up anymore with the sticky tape. I tried to tie her to the chair so that she could have free hands, and I tried to tie her hands and mouth. I tried to do that, but she was a bit of a fighter, he told police. Just all casually. He's just a bit of a fighter. On the night of he abducted her, Kelly unzipped Chloe's family tent and discovered her sleeping inside alongside her baby sister and parents. So they were all together in one tent. You know, I did wonder that. He quietly bundled her up in her sleeping bag in the front seat of the car and drove on dirt tracks for a 75-kilometer journey back to his house in Chavron. During Chloe's 18-day ordeal, Kelly was spotted multiple times out in the community visiting family and shopping for noodles and chocolate. He also attended a course. Wagner said that Chloe was often alone at the house. Being separated without any explanation is distressing for a 4-year-old, but 18 days without contact or explanation, and with the hours totally on her own, and no access to the outside world, would have been very traumatic for a child. Look, it would have been very traumatic for anyone, let alone a child. Her parents didn't know if she was alive or dead, and they didn't know what had happened to her, or if she would ever return. This shattered her family, which has been, irreparably damaged and traumatizing to this child. This poor child, she's got to live with this for the rest of her days. Being kidnapped, I mean, I am glad that he didn't do anything extra. During the ordeal, Kelly befriended Chloe's mother, Ellie Smith, on Facebook and watched on as she pleaded on social media for her daughter to be returned. Smith and her partner, Jake Gideon, were in court to hear the details of their daughter's ordeal. Court-appointed psychiatrists found Kelly had a severe personality disorder and longed for his own family, including a little girl he could dress up and play with and have fun with. Wagner said Kelly had created a fantasy family and made multiple Facebook profiles of his pretend children. In reality, he lived in a detached and isolated life. You speak in your record of an interview with police and having a number of children. Those family members are fictitious. However, this is all very real to you, isn't it? She said. You've also had a significant interest in brat dolls and owned many of them for most of your life. Is this part of a hobby that's consistent with your fantasy family life? She said, Kelly created a family as a coping mechanism to deal with his traumatic childhood after he was abandoned by his parents at 2 years old. He has since been diagnosed with severe personality disorder, depression, paranoid schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder, and narcissism. That's a terrible combination. Wagner was found Kelly lacked the concern for others, was a high risk of reoffending. She sentenced him to 13 years and 6 months jail and made him eligible for parole with time served. Kelly could be released in 2033. So yeah, that's it for today. I have finished adding these rounds. So this was our nice long one that we did yesterday, which is now finished. It's connected, ready to go connect to the big blanket, and then these are the small corner ones which now get connected to this bit in here, get connected together. Actually, I've got a few rows to do in here, some black rows, one side and then the other, and then they all get connected and then they'll go around the blanket. But that is a later Haley problem. Thank you for your time today, and I will see you tomorrow.
From one Australian to another. Thank you, and see you